Hey, welcome to the Trash Picture Show. All this month I'm reviewing horror movies, but I've decided for today I'm actually going to look at some horror comics and recommend some to you. Starting with Twisted Dark. This is a Neil Gibson anthology story with some fantastic artwork. It is essentially like the Twilight Zone or The Outer Limits. If you're a fan of anthology series, this is well worth a look, and it is freaky, it is spooky, and it's a fantastic read. Next up we have Vertigo's Hellblazer, John Constantine. This character is one of DC Vertigo's most famous. He is a exorcist, a modern day exorcist who has to deal with demons and creatures and elements of the dark. He's not a very likable character, but he is what you would call an anti-hero. Garth Ennis, Alan Moore, all the greats have had a go at him, and if you're a fan of the likes of The Exorcist or The Omen, these comics I would highly recommend. Next up we have Mike Ratchett and Kyle Hurt's Zombie. This is a take on the classic Marvel Simon Garth Zombie. However, they have an element of an origin story put into this as well, where Simon Garth is a bank clerk who is kidnapped by robbers and end up in a quarantine zone which is filled with The Walking Dead. It's under the Marvel Max imprint, and the artwork is quite visceral and quite gory and quite cool actually as well. If you get a chance, do definitely check out Marvel Max's Zombie. A classic, Alan Moore from Hell. Alan Moore does Jack the Ripper, his ideas and stories put together from evidence from urban legends, and the artwork is amazing. If you're a fan of horror or thriller or murder mystery, From Hell is an awesome comic to check out. Eddie Campbell's artwork is second to none, and it is almost like a storyboard for a movie. Forget the From Hell movie. The graphic novel is the way to go. It is messed up, it is intriguing, and it is disturbing, and it is one of Alan Moore's best comics. 30 Days a Night. This is awesome. This is Steve Niles and Ben Templesmith, and it's the story of Barrow, Alaska, where these two kind of cops, Ebium and his wife, have to defend the local community from a group of marauding vampires. The comic does a lot better job of fleshing out both the human characters and the vampires than the movie did. I think the movie was just going for shock value, while this goes a lot more for kind of character and story elements, and you really do get a sense of isolation from the comic. The movie, I think, is all flash, all gloss. Not a bad movie, but still, it isn't close to its source material. And if you get a chance, do check out Steve Niles' 30 Days a Night. Next up, Avatars Crossed. This comic is infamous. I love this comic, and it's written by one of my favourite comic book writers, Garth Ennis, and the art is splendidly done by Janson Burrows. The story is a viral infection which can be spread by spittle, by blood, by semen. If it gets in contact with you, you develop a rash-like cross on your face, and you go out of your mind. You turn into an absolute sadist. Cannibalism, rape, murder, buggery. Whatever happens, whatever dark part of the human brain is inside us, it is unleashed. It is terrifying. It is messed up. This comic is freaking amazing. You definitely need a strong stomach and a very, very strong sensibility to read this comic, because it is Avatar Press, and it does not pull its punches. For example, I'll just show you that page there. It is messed up. Garth Ennis does a very compelling story, and Unlike The Walking Dead, the characters realize they have to actually lose their humanity in order to survive in a world filled with the crossed. There has been a number of other books, but the volume 1 I think works the best. The other ones I think suffered from a Saw effect, where they just upped the ante and the gore and the kind of characterization was lost. If you have the stomach for it and you have the patience, definitely check out Gareth Dennis's Crossed from Avatar Press. Next up, we have Farrells. This is another cool Avatar book. It tells the story of Dale Chestnut, a sheriff who has become embroiled in a kind of community of werewolves. And unlike other kind of werewolf lore, it's not getting bitten. It's actually from sleeping with the females of the community. They're essentially ancestors of Vikings, berserker Vikings, who turned out to be werewolves, and you have this sexually transmitted disease that turns you into a werewolf. It's Avatar Press, so lots of sex, lots of violence, and you need a good stomach, and you can't be too coy reading these books. But David Lapham does a fantastic job with this comic, and if you're a fan of werewolves, if you're a fan of movies like The Howling, this is definitely well worth a look. Last Avatar book, Warren Ellis's Black Gas. This story is about a couple who go on a weekend retreat to an island that has an active volcano on it. The volcano goes off and releases a toxic gas into the air, which turns the populace of the island into savage zombies, and the couple have to survive. Warren Ellis does a really cool take on the whole zombie idea, but I think Avatar have done other zombie stories like Crossed or the Night of the Living Dead books with a lot more class and a lot better. That said, Ryan Waterhouse's art is pretty cool, and as I said, it's an Avatar book, so you are going to get a lot of gore and a lot of messed up material. But if you are a fan of zombie stories, I highly recommend Black Gas. Next up, Four Color Fear. This is awesome. This is a collection of classic EC stories from the 40s, 50s and 60s before the comic code came in and banned them outright. And you get awesome covers, and you also get awesome comic strips that are incredibly creepy and incredibly dark. And if you're a fan of kind of classic comic strips, or if you love comic history, Four Color Fear is definitely a book to check out if you're a horror fan. And last up, an absolute classic, The Walking Dead. Before the TV show came out, I started collecting this in 2003. This book is immensely compelling, and I think does the characterization of the survivors of The Walking Dead a hell of a lot better than the TV show. Now, the TV show, in fairness, you've got a standard runtime of 45 to 60 minutes, where you have an entire comic series to flesh out the likes of Rick Grimes and Carl and the other characters. And for the first few issues, Tony Moore done the artwork, and I wasn't too sure what to think about it, but it still is a really nice looking book, and it is kind of what happens after the zombie movie ends. What would these characters have to deal with? How would they live their life? And I think I'm currently on volume 25. As I said, I've been collecting this book since 2003, so I've been collecting it, let's see, going on about 15 years now. Yeah. So it is an awesome, compelling book, and if you enjoy the TV show, I do really recommend giving the comic a go. And Robert Kirkman, his craftsmanship at the story and the whole feel and vibe of this book is amazing. So they're all my kind of horror comic suggestions, and if you've any recommendations or suggestions for horror comics, leave them in the comments below. And yeah, my name's Martin. This has been a Trash Picture Show. Like, subscribe, and have a good one. Take care. Bye now.